hoping that all the developers and cannabis companies, if you could turn your mic off and make sure that your mic is muted. Also turn your cameras off so that then the public can see everyone, all the board on their screen. So thank you. And Chair Bolton, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you. This is Chair Nathan Bolton, and I would like to call to order the Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting, September 16th, 2021. This meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.263(2) and MCL 15.263(a) 1B. May we have a roll call, please?
Director Baer.
Present from the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Thank you. Director Bogan.
Here, Kalamazoo County, city of Kalamazoo, great state of Michigan.
Chair Bolton.
Present, city of Kalamazoo, county of Kalamazoo, state of Michigan.
Director Brown.
Sorry, present, Portage, city of Portage, county of Kalamazoo, state of Michigan.
Director Escamilla.
Present, city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo.
Director Gulau.
Here, city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Novotny.
Present here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan. And I'd also just want to share really quick, PJ, that Director Owens is having some difficulty getting into the meeting, but you might want to check the waiting room to see if she's there.
Thank you for that. Antonio or Elizabeth, can you guys check to see if Patty's in the waiting room for us? Okay. Well, we will work to get Patty in. So Director Owens. All right. There's the roll for you, Chair Bolton.
Okay. With Director Owens, we wouldn't have any absent members, but since we don't have her in yet, may I have a motion to excuse absent members?
Director Middleton, so moved.
Gulau supports.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Item C is adoption of the formal agenda. The agenda was sent out to everyone. Are there any corrections or changes to the agenda? Seeing that there are not any, if I may ask for a motion to approve the formal agenda.
Director Amanda Escamilla, approved.
Director Baer, second.
Moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Aye. Approval of minutes for the meeting of August 19th, 2021. Again, those were sent out with the agenda. Are there any corrections or questions to the meeting minutes, excuse me, from August 19th? May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on August 19th, 2021?
Motion to approve by Novotny.
Supported by Director Bogan.
Moved and support. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? New business. Approval of recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application 2233 North Burdick Inc., adult use retailer. PJ, do we have the information on that?
Yes, thank you, Chair Bolton. 223 North Burdick Inc. Their employment, they don't currently have any employees. They've been closed for over 6 months as they undergo a rebranding. They plan on having 18 full-time and 2 part-time employees. When they were open, 95% of their employees were residents of the city of Kalamazoo. They also try to match the makeup of the city with 60% of their employees being people of color. For their reopening, excuse me, they plan on reaching out to open doors to find people who are looking for jobs. All workers will be trained to adhere to all the state standards, and high-performing employees always have the ability to obtain management roles within the company. 2233 North Burdick has donated to Loaves and Fishes and Bridge Ministries over the last year. They are not in default with the city, and they adhere to the city's anti-discrimination ordinance. They passed their zoning inspection in January and their fire inspection in June. And members of 2233 North Burdick's organization are here to answer any questions. This comes with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee. I'd be happy to open it up to any Cannabis Committee members or directors for questions.
Thank you, PJ. Are there any questions by the directors?
I guess I'll ask one. This is Director Brown. They closed down 6 months ago. Was there a reason for the rebrand? What was the reason for the rebrand, I guess?
Yeah, hi, Paul Weisberg on behalf of the licensed entity. Rebranding is really part of 2 parts. We're actually redesigning the interior of the store and the flow of how traffic's going to occur. We've elected, after doing some circling the wagons and doing some research nationally on what we feel works best, we're going to be changing the dynamic of what the customer experience when you walk in. We're going to be spending more time bud tenders dealing with the patients and customers. And then we're going to be having pick tickets where somebody in the back, there's staff that all they do is pick the product and let the customer up. So we spent the time during the COVID crisis having a new architectural firm lay out the space. We had a name, Kalamazoo, which is affiliated with another location in town. And we've elected to part ways with the Kalamazoo name and come up with our own unique name, which is Levels. And so you should have in your packet a copy of the renderings that was provided to the Cannabis Committee and staff. It will depict the new layout. We plan on submitting building permit drawings probably within about 2 to 3 weeks. And then we will reopen with Levels with the new concept of having bud tenders spend their entire time with the patient and the customers and not spending their time in the back picking product. So we're excited. Campus is back in session. We're excited to rebrand the name and the new layout. And I think you're going to see a first-class interior and exterior inside. We're also moving the entrance of the space to the east, which is where the parking is, so that the customer doesn't have to walk around the entire building to the front of the store.
Thank you.
I did want to point out, though, that we have also reached out to, had conversations with, and have donated to Urban Alliance and the Douglas Community Center. And if you have any questions on what they do, I think you guys are aware. I have Jason Christine on the phone that can elaborate a little bit more with our community involvement.
Thank you for that, Paul.
This is Director Bolton, and I would love to hear more about the community involvement if possible.
Jason, are you on the phone? I know he can only join us by telephone as he's driving. Jason, are you on the phone? Paul, do you see Jason in the queue?
I do not.
Okay. That is not.
Just a quick update for the board members. think Beth, our city staff person that hosts the meeting, was having some electrical problems issues, and so she wasn't able to let some people in. She texted me a little while ago. So
And I've been having my audio cut out and have had to jump back in 6 times to get audio.
Actually, it's hosted by IT staff,
Oh, there you
so
go.
they will need to see if Patty is in the waiting room. I did email to let them know, but
okay.
if you could do that. I do see someone on a telephone, but I also see a Jason Vanderlaan on with us.
Yes, I'm with Pure LLC, Jason Vanderloop.
We'll move forward then. Are there any other questions by the directors? If not, may I have a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for 2233 North Burdick, Inc.
So moved, Director Brown.
Support by Director Hess.
It's been moved and supported. I believe this requires a roll call vote.
Yes, thank you, Chair Bolton. Director Bear,
Yes.
Director Bogan,
Yes.
Chair Bolton,
Yes.
Director Brown,
Yes.
Director Escamilla,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Director Gulau,
Yes.
Director Hess,
Yes.
Director Middleton,
Yes.
Director Novotny.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is approval of recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Pure LLC, a medical class C grower. Information from PJ, please.
Thank you, Chair Bolton. Pure LLC, this is their first renewal. They have 27 employees and 10 that live within the city of Kalamazoo. They state that they strive to prioritize hiring city of Kalamazoo residents over applicants from outside the city. They provide the standard onboard training along with continuing education for all employees, including processing and sustainable practices and legal updates pertaining to the state regulations. They have planned to develop and implement community outreach programs such as food and clothing drives for the local food banks and churches. They plan to work with the Veterans Assistance Centers and determine the best way to help, whether it is financial assistance or community service. And they have plans to donate 1% of their profits to not-for-profit community organizations within the city. Pure LLC is not in default with the city. Pure LLC adheres to the city's anti-discrimination ordinance. They passed their zoning and fire inspections on August 19th. Members of Pure LLC are here if there are any questions from the board. This comes with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee. I'd open it up to any questions from directors.
Thank you, PJ. Are there any directors' questions or questions from the directors? This is Director Bolton. I'm curious, what's your process, or how are you choosing the nonprofits that you will be giving the 1% of profits to?
Hey, Director, this is Jason Vanderlaan, Head of Management at the Cultivation Facility. So far, we've chosen the Elizabeth Uptown Center to donate to, which is a drug and rehab center. We wanted to try to give back to people that have been struggling with addiction over the years. That's our first one, and then from there, we're going to be looking to start to donate to veterans from military that need help, that are struggling out there.
Thank you. Are there any other directors' questions?
No, this is Director Brown. If the city's vetted this and the cannabis committee has given its stamp of approval, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Would the representative have anything else that they would like to say from Pure LLC?
The only other thing for Pure LLC is we're just having a hard time hiring staff. We put out tons of job applications. We're still slightly understaffed here. I could probably use 3 to 4 more employees currently right now. We've hired almost every single employee that's applied for a job with us, unless they showed up on alcohol or drugs that are not marijuana. That's the only reason we have not hired anybody that's applied for the job for us so far. So if the city has any recommendations on how to hire more people or how to get more diversity into our facility, we would love to take any recommendations.
Hey, Paul,
Yes, sir.
we will follow up with them on
I
that.
was just going to say that. Thank you, Antonio. Yeah, Jason, we'll get back with you. We'll get you a list of some organizations that can help you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So may I have a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Pure LLC?
Director Brown would move to support.
Second.
Been moved and supported. Again, this will require a roll call vote.
Bear,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Escamilla,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Gulau,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
Thank you. It has been passed. Item 3 is approval of a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for RC Labs, medical safety compliance and adult safety compliance. Information from PJ, please.
Thank you, Chair Bolton. I do not see if RC Labs is on the call, but hopefully they are in case there's any questions. RC Labs is not currently fully operational as they work on their matrices, and they are currently just testing for flour. They are one of the few labs in town. They have 3 employees. They do offer health, dental insurance, and 401k plans for their employees. They plan to ramp up to 14 employees when fully operational. COVID has prevented them from doing their community education and outreach that they had planned on. They are not in default with the city. They adhere to the city's anti-discrimination ordinance, and they passed their zoning and fire inspections last month. It comes with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee, and I would open it up to any questions, and hopefully RC Labs is on here, as I said.
Thank you, PJ. Are there any questions from the directors?
This is Director Bear, and I'll admit that I'm not very familiar with the cannabis industry, and I would love to know what is different about this business relative to the other ones that we've been approving.
This is a safety compliance business, so they will contract with medical and adult use growers or processors. They will send them their product and have it tested for purity, potency, and pesticides. The 3 Ps. Sorry, I just did that. I didn't do that on purpose. But those are kind of what it's just a lab that allows everyone, whether it be the farmer or the processor, to understand exactly what is in the product.
Thank you. Are there other businesses in Kalamazoo with this business model?
There are at least 2 that I've been, and I think if Jamie Marsman was on here, she would know for sure. There might be 3, but there are very few of the labs.
Correct.
Thank you. That's helpful context.
Sure.
Thank you, Director Bear. Are there any other questions from the directors? Would someone from RC Labs like to make any comments?
Hi, this is Brooke Delnista. I'm the manager at RC Labs. So I don't have any comments. We're working to get the things fixed that we needed to get fixed and finish the validations that we need to get done to become fully operational. So we're looking forward to getting to that point this year.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for RC Labs?
Director Middleton, so moved.
Director Bogan, support.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported. Again, this will require a roll call vote.
Bear,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Escamilla,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Gulau,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny,
Yes.
Thank you. Item 4 is approval of a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Refined Michigan Company, a medical provisioning center. Information from PJ, please.
Thank you, Chair Bolton. Refined Michigan has been in, they were just here recently a few months ago for their adult use. They are a medical provisioning center. They have 23 employees, 13 are full-time and 10 are part-time. They currently have 12 employees that are women, 7 of those are supervisors and 1 is a woman of color, 11 employees that are male, including 5 men of color, and 2 of those are in supervisory positions. When hiring, Refined Michigan targets City of Kalamazoo residents, in addition to people of color and those that have been disproportionately affected by cannabis prohibition. Refined Michigan donated $24,000 last year to Black Wall Street, Kalamazoo, the Douglas Community Center, Redemption's Last Prisoner Projects, Synergy Health, and the Urban Alliance. As a little aside to that, Refine is here to answer any questions, but they're donating $24,000 a year and they're not even taking salaries yet. It's just great. They also buy and support from fellow Kalamazoo businesses whenever possible. They are not in default with the city. They adhere to the city's anti-discrimination ordinance, and Refine passed their zoning and fire inspections this past May. This comes to the full board from the committee with a favorable recommendation. And Tom are here from Refine if the board has any questions.
Thank you, PJ. Are there any questions from the directors? This is Director Bolton. Not a comment, I guess a comment to say thank you for your back to the community. That is greatly appreciated. If there are not any questions, would Tom like to make any comments?
This is Tom Senior. My son and myself own the business. Started it in 2019, but we're just really trying to work with the organizations that are helping those of color in Kalamazoo, mainly on the north side. Just recently, myself and Erin is my daughter, who is general manager of it, have been asked to join the board of one of these organizations, Synergy Health. So we are honored to get on that and work with them and just stay very involved in the community as much as we possibly can. Just really like working with the city, and we're hoping to open a couple of new businesses here soon in the cannabis within the city. So we're, that's our plan at this point, just to continue working with, the city of Kalamazoo supported us fantastic. We have to do the same. So I don't know if Tom, my son's got anything to add.
I would say the same thing. It's been great working with the city of Kalamazoo, and we're looking forward to a continued relationship.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Refined Michigan Company?
Director Bogus, so moved.
Support by Director Novotny.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported. Again, this will require a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair Bolton. Director Bear,
Yes.
Director Bogan,
Yes.
Chair Bolton,
Yes.
Director Brown,
Yes.
Director Escamilla,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Director Goulart,
Yes.
Director Hess,
Yes.
Director Middleton,
Yes.
Director Novotny.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe that completes the licensing renewals.
Yes,
You
it
are
does.
more than welcome to stay on the call, or you are also welcome to drop at this point if you like. Thank you again for joining this morning. Item 5 is approval of the fiscal year 2022 budget for Fund 702, Economic Development Corporation.
Thanks, Chair Bolton. I'm going to kick this to Marcy Dix, our Program Finance Supervisor. Hi, Marcy.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing today? I'll share the screen so you can look at the budget. Oh, I will not share the screen. I'm not able to this morning, but you should have the budget and an agenda report bulleting out several items in front of you in the packet. And for this month, it is the same budget that was presented as a draft in August. As a reminder, we have budgeted investments and bond fees based on recent years' earnings. And we are in the process of requesting marijuana license revenues to support an additional employee and the additional work that comes with that review. If that doesn't end up being approved, we will have an adjustment by January of 2022 that you would all approve based on any changes that come from not getting those additional revenues. And we do have 500,000 budgeted if this board recommends any applications that fit with the Economic Initiative Fund objectives, and they would be recommended to the City Commission, and then the City Commission would approve loans of up to $250,000 with those funds. But if we don't do any, if you don't want to recommend any projects that fit that mold, then those dollars would not be transferred. So in the expenses, we have budgeted personnel costs for the full-time new position that will hopefully be occurring, and 25% of the existing CPED staff member that works on these meetings, and $30,000 for outside contractual services to help with any expenses of issuing a request for qualifications for a property or strategic planning work. We have bumped up the budget for advertising and branding work for $5,000, so you can get some more information about properties out there. And $6,000 is budgeted for trainings for 2 CPED employees to address relevant issues to this board. Everything else is similar to 2019 and 2020 budgets. Not a lot has happened in 2019 and 2020, but we're trying to give you the resources you need to do more in 2022. So are there any questions about this budget?
Thank you, Marcy. Are there any questions from the directors? As Marcy mentioned, this was presented previously also last month. If there are not any questions, may I please have a motion to approve the budget for Fund 702, the Economic Development Corporation?
So moved by Director Novotny. Oh, sorry, Jim, go ahead.
No problem. I will support.
Moved by Director Novotny and supported by Director Escamilla. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? It's been moved and supported. Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you all in a little bit.
Thank you, Marcy. Item 6 is approval of recommendation by the Executive Committee of the Economic Development Corporation to appoint Director Rachel Baird to Projects and Finance Committee.
Jamie?
Jamie? Okay, thank you. Jamie will be giving information on this.
Thank you, Chair Bolton. Just very briefly, I wanted to mention that you have a recommendation in front of you today to, as you mentioned, appoint Director Bear, our newest board member, to the Projects and Finance Committee. Staff brought this idea forward to our executive committee earlier this month, and with the idea that Director Bear would be stepping in for Director Middleton, who shifted over to the executive committee. Having our new board members join the Projects and Finance Committee allows them to become more familiar with the BRA's work and specific projects, gives them an opportunity to ask questions and kind of get prepared ahead of the regular board meeting. So we thought that would be a really great opportunity to extend to Director Bear. Additionally, adding another member brings that committee to 5, which is fewer than our board quorum. And so that should function well in that way.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any questions or comments by the directors?
This is Director Gulau. I was part of the interview process to bring in Director Bear. Super excited to have her and super excited to get her plugged into the subcommittee. She's going to bring a great perspective, and we're going to learn a lot from her. We're excited to have her.
Thank you, Director Gulau. Are there any other comments? May I have a motion to approve the recommendation to appoint Director Rachel Baird to the Projects and Finance Committee?
Director Bogan, so moved.
Director Gulau supports.
Moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? It's been moved and passed. Thank you. We will move to old business. Is there any old business?
No old business. Chair Bolton.
Thank you, PJ. Communication announcements. Are there any communication and announcements? There are not any. Are there any citizen comments?
There are no citizen comments at this time. I'm also looking into getting Patty into the meeting as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tawan.
Are there any directors' comments? If not, thank you, and we are officially adjourned.
Okay, this is Director Hess, and we will jump right into the Brownfield meeting unless anyone needs a break. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for September 16th, 2021. As this meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.2632 and MCL 15.263A1B. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chair Hess, we're going to start with Director Bear.
Present from the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Bogan.
Good morning, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, great state of Michigan.
Bolton.
Present, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, State of Michigan.
Brown.
President, City of Portage, Kalamazoo County, State of Michigan.
Escamilla.
President, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo.
Director Goulart.
Here, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Novotny.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Owens. And Chair Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan. So it looks like Patty's still working on getting in.
She is not in the waiting room.
Okay. It looks like we will have to have an action to, or a motion to excuse absent members. So could I entertain a motion to excuse absent members at this time?
Director Bolton, so moved.
Director Middleton, support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will pass. So we're looking for adoption of the formal agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review formal agenda? Could I have a motion to adopt the formal agenda as presented?
Director Brown, so moved.
Director Bear, support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? That will pass. Now we're looking for adoption of the minutes from the meeting of August 19th, 2021. If there's no additions, changes, or deletions, could I entertain a motion to approve those minutes?
Director Bolton, so moved.
Director Bogan, support.
And moved and supported. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. On to new business. For the first item of new business, we were looking for the approval of an option to purchase agreement between Cal Recovery 2 Limited Dividend Housing Association Limited Partnership and the BRA for a 6.6 acre parcel at 333 East Alcott. And looking for a presentation on this.
Yes, Chair Hess, I can give a presentation here. I'd like to pull up a map as well. If you give me just a moment. All right, that should be popping up here. The property that we're talking about today is located in the Edison neighborhood here south of downtown. And it's part of the former Performance Paper site. Just gonna switch out the imagery here so you can see. As you can see, all of the existing Performance Paper facilities have been demolished, and there was a creek restoration project done that kind of bisects the property here right in the middle. And just for reference, we are here between Alcott or Reed Street and Alcott, and the property that we're talking about, or the section that we're talking about, would be about 6.6 acres located here in the northwest. So we're at the corner of Reed and Belford Street. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on the property or the work that staff's been doing. We've been working with Hollander Development Corporation, looking at purchasing this corner parcel, 6.6 acres. And the purpose of the project would be constructing residential apartment buildings here, which would be both a combination of affordable rental rates, targeting that 60% AMI level, and then also offering some family and individual recovery housing from substance use disorders. So really a mix of those different residential uses. The intention here of the developer for next spring would be to apply to Michigan State Housing Development Authority for low-income housing tax credits, which would help support those affordable rents and recovery housing. And this project would be seeking and would need a pilot, so that payment in lieu of taxes. And so right now we're not anticipating that there'd be a request for any other BRA incentives other than this property sale eventually. The development that, or the agreement that you have in front of you is an option to purchase. It gives the developer 365 days to exercise this option. And it does require a 10% non-refundable deposit. That's, just over about $5,700 that the BRA receives for the option. The staff is supportive of the sale of the property. It really complements the medical and health services surrounding this site, but it also offers some good housing opportunities that would benefit both the city and the community as a whole. The purchase price that's outlined in the agreement is the lower of two fair market value estimates. So one of those coming from our assessor's office and the other a professional appraiser that's appraisal that's currently underway. And then additionally, the developer has been seeking the necessary rezoning for the property. So in August, that request went to the Planning Commission and received a recommendation, and that rezoning is going to be on the September 20th City Commission meeting coming up here. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. We do have Mr. Hollander here today if the board has any questions for the developer as well.
This is Director Hess. I'd want to start out by just commending you, Matt. I think everybody has really appreciated the Creamery project, and I know you're familiar with this neighborhood and obviously doing this type of housing, but I just want to see how the discussions with the Neighborhood Association have gone so far.
Yeah, thank you, Director Hess. I'm Matt Hollander. I'm the president of Hollander Development Corporation. We have full support of the Edison Neighborhood Association this time around. We went after this project in 2018, and our original intent was to do a 100% recovery housing project where we were contemplating a 50-unit project on the same site. All of the units at that time were to be reserved as permanent supportive housing for individuals and families in recovery from primarily opioid and methamphetamine disorders. And we got a lot of pushback from the neighborhood at that time, mainly due to the density of the permanent supportive housing units in a single location in the neighborhood. And so over the past 3 years, we've gone back to the drawing board. We've come up with a new concept. This project actually is a two-site project. So there's another site that doesn't have any relationship to the BRA, where we would be doing an additional 24 units of recovery housing. So those would be studio apartments for individuals on a separate site. And on this site, we are looking at doing 12 2- and 3-bedroom units for families with a head of household in recovery from substance use disorder. And the remaining 24 to 36 units that we're looking at would be what I call standard affordable housing. So rent and income restricted housing, MISHDA type. And when we did that, we went back to the neighborhood, and the neighborhood fully supported the project at that point because we had done what they asked us to do, which was to, separate out some of the highest impact units into a separate site. And they liked that concept. They wrote us a letter of support for the rezoning at Planning Commission. And they have also supported us in our efforts to get low-income housing tax credits from MISHDA. So the Neighborhood Association is on board at this point. We do plan to do some additional neighborhood outreach. Neighborhood outreach on this project this time around has been more complicated because of COVID. So in 2018, we went door to door and actually talked to all of the residents that we could within 300 feet of the site. We were unable to do that sort of face-to-face work this time around. We sent letters, we tried to organize some Zoom feedback sessions, and we had low participation. So we're going to be following up and doing some additional work in that area to make sure that the immediate neighbors who would be impacted by the project have some influence over how the project is developed.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions for the developer from the board?
This is Director Bear. Matt, could you talk a bit about the work that will be done to assess the potential flood impacts of the impermeable surfaces that you'll be installing?
Yeah, so we are going to focus on green construction, which is something that we always do. And so we're going to be attempting to create as much pervious surface on the parcel as possible. We have 6.64 acres to work with in this parcel, and the density of the project, if we stick to 36 or 48 units, is going to be low enough that we can have adequate green space there, we think. There is a conservation easement, restrictive covenant area along the east and west banks of the Portage Creek. And so if you look at a map of the parcel, there's what's right now a gravel non-motorized pathway, which I think is supposed to be part of a north-south KRVT spur. We do intend to pave that as part of the project to continue that trail system. Everything to the west of that is restrictive covenant, so we won't be doing anything there. We'll be leaving the sort of native plantings in place. A part of the cleanup that was conducted after the performance mill was closed down was to rebuild that section of the Portage Creek. So there's actually a pretty deep cut. At that point, there's an elevation change from the site that we're looking at down to the water line of the creek. And if you look at a FEMA map today, the flood zone is only located along the creek itself. So we've had a lot of questions about flooding. We're going to be asking a lot more questions about flooding, and we're going to be taking that into consideration with our site plan. MISTA is extremely concerned about flooding these days. They've had a lot of issues with 500-year floods in project locations that people have tried to develop into these types of projects. So we're going to have MISTA environmental staff sort of looking over our shoulder on flooding, and we're taking it as seriously as we can. And it could turn into an insurmountable barrier if we find significant flooding, but we've had no indication at this point that that's going to be a significant issue on that particular site.
Thanks, Matt. One last question. This is Director Hess. Just what do you anticipate rents being for the the non-substance abuse recovery housing?
I can give you a general idea here. I'll also try and get you the exact numbers. So right now, we are looking at 60% area median income units on that portion of the project for the sort of regular affordable housing. But the recovery housing, so right now, 1/3, we're looking at 36 units today. We're trying to figure out if we can fit an additional 12 units. But as it stands, 1/3 of the units would be for households at below 30% of area median income, and those would come with project-based vouchers from MISTA. And then the 60% rents on, bear with me for just a second here, sorry. 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. The maximum allowable, and we may or may not go up to the maximum depending on what our market study tells us. The maximum allowable for a 2-bedroom unit in Kalamazoo County at 60% right now is $1,045 a month, including utilities. And the maximum for a 3-bedroom is just over $1,200 a month, including utilities.
Okay, thank you. Any further director's comments or questions for the developer? Seeing none, I'd like to ask for a motion for the approval of the option of purchase agreement between Cal Recovery 2 Limited Dividend Housing Association Limited Partnership and the BRA for the 6.6 acre parcel at 333 East Alcott.
So moved by Novotny.
Supported by Brown.
And moved and supported. At this time, I'd like to open it up for discussion by the board or any comment by Projects and Finance Committee. Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Director Bear,
Yes.
Bogan,
Abstain.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Escamilla,
Abstain. We are the designer of the project.
thank you. Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Gula,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton, I'm not sure I caught that.
I think he's frozen.
Yes, I think it's to me. I apologize. Having some connection issue.
No problem. Thank you. We'll go on to Novotny.
Yes.
And I believe Owens is still absent. All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Matt. That motion will pass. Item 2, we are looking for the approval of a purchase and sale agreement between Burdick at Cedar LLC and the BRA for parcel at 116 West Cedar. Can we have or do we have a presentation from staff?
Yes, thank you, Chair Hess. This is PJ Thuringer. I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can show you what we're talking about. 116 West Cedar, which is located right here in between Rose and Burdick. This is Lovell. This is Cedar. If you guys can see if y'all can see my my cursor. It's about a ½ acre parcel. The building that sits on it is about 14,000 square feet. And property is a former fire station and public safety training facility located on the edge of downtown. In 2009, the property was transferred to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Since that time, the BRA has identified environmental conditions at the property, which are estimated to cost between $500,000 and $700,000 for demo and environmental abatement. City desires to see the property redeveloped for active use that promotes public access, creates new jobs, and encourages pedestrian traffic between other nodes of activity. The city is exploring how the sale of adjacent city-owned surface parking lot at 440 South Burdick could also be incorporated into the development of the site to create a transformative redevelopment of the southern end of the block and adjacent blocks. Staff has been working with Burdick at Cedar LLC on a mixed use and or commercial project that could realize the city's vision of revitalization of the south end of the block. The attached purchase and sale agreement provides the developer with land control of the property for an investigation period of 1 year with a purchase price at fair market value of $350,000. The developer anticipates seeking state and or local brownfield incentives, as well as a combination of other economic development financing tools. Mr. Dobson and Mr. McDonald are here from the development team, and it is recommended that the BRA approve the purchase and sale agreement for the property at 116 West Cedar with Burdick and Cedar LLC. I'd be happy to answer any questions or turn it over to Mr. McDonald and Mr. Dobson.
Thank you, PJ. Rich and Greg, do you guys have any thing you'd like to add here?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to be before you again. With me is Greg Dobson, who you all know, and we're excited to talk about another opportunity to breathe new life really into this part of the block, which has been vacant for quite some time and is severely contaminated, as Paul had mentioned. With the success we've had at Ford Rose and because maybe let me back up for a second. The entities are entities that are owned by the Hinman Company and the EVB. So the Burdick at Cedar and the 116 Cedar, entities are owned by entities of him and an EVP. Just, I know that might be a little bit confusing, but so we're excited to work on a project that will be dense, that'll be walkable, will include environmental remediation, it will involve public improvements, create jobs, and it'll likely be LEED certified to some level. If I can for a second, I don't know if I can share my screen, but I've got an aerial as well that I'd like to maybe pull up. Let's see here. All right, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. So this is a little bit more of an updated aerial to just kind of get you familiar with the space. Here's Bronson Park. The skyrise is down here. The property, the 116 Cedar property is in this location. 440 Burdick property is here. This is the 400 Rose project, which has had great success. We've been maintaining 100% occupancy at the facility. We're also really excited and to share that the project did receive LEED Gold status. And I think the success of this project, obviously it never would have happened without the support and the public-private partnerships that we had in obtaining all the incentives, which we will need for the future project to happen on this block as well. We are in the process of phase 2, which is currently under construction. And that phase will have 101 units. But our approach with it, with this project, and I think the success involves a combination of great design, great amenities, and certainly the location. Our biggest amenity is what's going on downtown, and our goal with these projects are really to kind of exceed expectations for the residents and loving where they live. And loving where they live is getting to know their neighbors, getting to know downtown, really loving where they live so much that they never want to leave. And so we're excited to kind of breathe new life into this portion of the block in the same way that we were able to with the 400 Rose projects. We are exploring additional options outside of these properties that may allow for expanded scope. But with these properties and a few that we already own, we have the geometry sufficient for a feasible project. Just looking at this block, we currently own the surface lot and the answering service building on the corner. We also own and operate the Kalamazoo State Theater and Harvey's on the mall. From a timing perspective, it's our hope to be back in front of you in a time frame that would allow us to roll from construction after 400 Rose Phase 2 into this block, which would probably be first or second quarter of 2023. As far as other project updates, I don't know, Greg, is there anything that you can think of that I left out?
Rich, I think you did a nice job of covering, and I think my only, I guess, additional reminder would be your screensaver, your background there. You know, the opportunity to enhance these streetscapes as we, develop along Rose and Cedar and Burdick is pretty exciting, and I think kind of changes the way the city feels when you walk in this part of the city. But I think otherwise you covered it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'd like to open it up to any questions or comments from the board.
This is Director Bear, and I commend you on the projects you've undertaken downtown. I'm excited to see more housing density in the central city. And in looking at that aerial view, I still see a lot of parking lot. And I'm concerned a bit about bringing more residents into downtown, still relying on individual car ownership and the amount of space that we'll need for the storage of those private automobiles, and wondering how you are thinking about active and public transit as part of your project, if that is something that's on the table.
Well, yeah, thank you for that comment. So, you know, we would love it if our residents would take more advantage of alternate transportation. It would, because usually the most difficult piece of developing a new project is accommodating parking. And so we have, in all of our projects, we've had to accommodate parking on site, and 400 Rose was a really good test, and as is 400 Rose Phase 2. Parking and secure parking was probably either the #1 or the #2 reason why residents would choose to live in this location downtown. So I think that it's certainly a goal in the future to be able to lower that, and hopefully as more additional services become available where people won't need transportation, their own transportation, that we can reduce that. But for right now, the market just isn't ready to give up a car or two. And so certainly I think the more density we create with housing, it then creates the opportunity for more sustainable grocery, retail, other businesses and services that can then generate the sales that they need in order to be sustainable. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg thing. And I think Grand Rapids is a really good example. 15 years ago, they set a goal of having 10,000 residents live downtown. And only until you get the density of people living downtown do you have those services and those retail and those other things. And now they're really starting to engage and starting to offer alternative transportation that's starting to work. So we think it's eventually going to get there. But for the stuff that we're developing in the short term, we need to accommodate parking within the project. And with this project, we would do the same. It's for us at this point, we're not clear whether it might be a underground parking or a wrap or something like that.
I'd add maybe just 2 pieces of information on top of that. One would be Kurt Artemuth from our office is sitting on the CATS board and is, very focused on those types of issues and concerns. So we always have that in our meetings, with this idea of, what can we do to, enhance and take advantage of public transportation. Secondly, at 400 Rose, we just did a full cleaning of our underground parking facility there. And there's many people that have cars that are just parked there. And they haven't used them. It's apparent, because they need a dusting. And they didn't really want to move them either. They just don't use them at all. So I think, over time, it's, things will change, and we'll be prepared for that, hopefully, as well.
And Greg, I would also add that we, in 400 Rose and 400 Rose Phase 2, which will likely happen in this new project, we have a significant sized bike storage facility on site. And so that facility, we also make sure that it's really easy and accessible and safe and secure, so that people can easily get to their bikes and get out on the street. They're not carrying it up an elevator or storing it in their apartment. So that has been a huge hit. And we've actually had to expand our bike storage at 400 Rose Phase 2 or Phase 1 to accommodate that demand. So that's been a big hit. We'll continue that for sure.
That's excellent. Thank you. It sounds like you're really designing for the present with the future in mind. And I look forward to seeing the increased density and the changes that will come because of it.
Any further questions or comments from directors? Well, thank you, Rich and Greg. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the purchase and sale agreement between Burdick Cedar LLC and the BRA for parcel at 116 West Cedar, and authorize the chair to sign.
Director Brown, so moved.
I can support. Who did you get as the motion?
Well, it was simultaneous, but it was moved by Director Brown and supported by Director Bear. Do we like to open up for discussion at this time? Any board discussion, comments, or questions?
Director Hess?
Yes.
Could the developers talk about also, because of their location with their clientele that they have, being close to the hospital and the medical school, is that having also effect on their the occupancy of the building, and would that also be a benefit because of their new development in the future?
I believe that's a developer.
Sure, I'll answer that one. It certainly is an important part of our current tenant mix. And we think it will continue to be. At the same time, there is a limit in terms of how many students there are going to be. There are other areas, of course, of the medical field that are expanding. So it is definitely a factor and an important one. As we add more housing, it will probably become a smaller factor unless there's additional growth in either the size of the medical school or the ancillary services and programs.
Thank you.
Okay. There's no further discussion. It's been moved and supported. Jamie, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Bear.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Gula.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion passes. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3, we are looking for an approval to the First Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement between Bogan Development LLC and the BRA for the parcel at 315 East Frank Street. And do we have a presentation on this?
Yes, Chair Hess. I will go ahead and give a little bit of information. I think the board's quite familiar with this property. I do have a map I will share. All right, so we are in the north side neighborhood this time, looking at the parcel at 315 East Frank Street. So we're here between Frank and Parsons, and we have Pitcher Street here immediately to the east. And I'll throw up sort of a satellite image here. You can see the property, the former J.A. Richards property, and facilities have all been demolished, and the BRA has owned this site, I want to say a little over 10 to 15 years, looking for redevelopment opportunities. And so last October, the board signed a purchase and sale agreement with Bogan Developments for a proposed mixed use, mixed income housing development. The space is envisioned to be able to provide community space and a daycare facility with some youth engagement and mentorship type opportunities, as well as offering a mix of market rate and affordable apartment units as low as 60% AMI. So the purchase price that's in the current agreement reflects the BRA's incentive policy, and it shows a 50% discount in the purchase price to match that level of affordability that the developer is proposing at this time. And that makes the purchase price around $23,700. Since October of last year, the developer has been working with the city, getting through the site plan review process, and also working on some public infrastructure plans that are needed at the site, because Pitcher Street is just a one-way sort of almost alley, narrow street there. And so there's going to have to be some significant investment in that public right of way. And then over the past year, the developers also for this project secured financial commitments from LISC and from the City of Kalamazoo's Housing for All program. And the goal here is to fill that remaining financial gap by seeking some other local and state financing and incentives. And we're anticipating and hearing from the developer that those commitments are expected in early 2022. So the amended agreement in front of you that's in your packets is extending that investigation period by 1 year. That allows the developer to obtain full site plan approval and provide that proof of financing for the rest of the project, and then would allow us to close within that year and break ground on the project once those pieces are in place. So that's all I have. I'm open to questions. We also have Jamari here with us today to answer any board questions as well.
Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, at this time, yeah, we just open it up for questions for Director Bogan or discussion. And this is Director House, and I just want to say, you know, I commended Jamari for taking this on. This I know this was one of the first projects we worked on when I got on the board, which is a long time ago. But we're glad to see this get redeveloped. But just want to say, you know, we're looking forward to this work and seeing it get done.
Director Brown, I echo that. We great helping a young new developer, and this is a great project to start with.
Thank you. Appreciate your support.
Okay, if there's no further questions, so Director Bogan, what we're gonna do is ask that you excuse yourself as a standard whenever we have a developer that has interest here. And then staff will let you know when you get back in. So what I'd like to do now is just entertain a motion to approve the First Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement between Bogan Development LLC and BRA parcel at 315 East Frank Street, and authorize the chair to sign.
Director Bogan.
Director Gulau.
So
Go for it, Director. We got two people. You can call it either way.
Go ahead, Director Bolton. Okay.
Director Gulau moves, Director Bolton supports.
Yeah. So we have a motion by Director Gulau and second by Director Bolton. Any discussion from the board or any comments from Projects and Finance Committee? Okay.
Good project.
Yeah. So seeing, and then do we want to have Jamari jump back in before the vote or after the vote?
We have Attorney Robinson with us, and I wonder if he can give us some guidance. Do we want to have folks present during a vote, or can we have Jamari join us afterward? I don't think we have an issue with quorum at this time.
It's okay for Director Bogan to remain on the call. I would point out, because you're dealing with a contract involving a member of the board, it does require 2/3 majority in order to be approved.
Thank you for that guidance.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if staff wants to. I don't know.
I'll go ahead and do that, Chair Hess.
And Kevin, I just want to note that I'll be abstaining. So when you're looking at the 2/3 number, understand that I'll abstain due to our involvement in the project.
And then and we don't have any further abstentions, do we? Okay. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to open up for a roll call vote.
Director Bear.
Yes.
Bogan.
Abstain.
Bolton.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Gula.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Novotny.
Abstain.
Okay, so it looks like it passed with a 2/3 vote. Thank you, Jamari, and wish you the best of luck. Moving on to item 4, consideration of a recommendation for the BRA to adopt the fiscal year budget 2022 for Fund 709 and Fund 243, which is the Brownfield Revolving Fund. Do we have a presentation on this budget?
Chair Hess, I know Ms. Dix and I are going to kind of tag team on this one, but as she mentioned earlier, last month we brought draft budgets to the EDC and BRA boards, and they're pretty similar to what you saw last month. Earlier in the month, we did get to kind of kick off some early discussions with our Projects and Finance Committee about project goals and priorities for 2022 and kind of how that relates to allocating some budget for those kind of projects. So what you have in front of you today for approval is that fiscal year 2022 budget for both funds 243, which is our local Brownfield revolving fund, and then also Fund 709, which is sort of the main Brownfield Brownfield Redevelopment Authority budget. And in the packet, you have those budgets in front of you. And I will let Marcy talk a little bit about the details on the revenues and expenses.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. And again, like Jamie said, these are the same numbers that were presented to you last month. And I will be a little less detailed than I was for the EDC budget earlier this morning, since there are two funds to cover. Your primary source of revenues for both funds is local tax capture, and we have estimated those for next year based on discussions with the assessor's office and what their estimates are. The tax capture revenues are actually the amount that we'll receive during the fiscal year, and then when we get to Fund 709, you'll see the expenses are a little bit different because the amount paid out to developers are based on the previous year's collections. In Fund 243, we have budgeted to use the ability to use up to $1,679,000 in working capital or fund balance. And the amount of available fund balance as of August is included in the budget summary. And the main goal for next year that is planned is to do a planning charrette for BRA controlled parcels on properties in the north side. And we estimate that could cost up to $75,000 to really get a good plan for using those properties. The remaining budget would be for other projects, eligible expenses that would be identified by you during the year. No decisions would be made without some discussion with the board. So 243 is usually a pretty simple budget. In previous years, we've broken it down into specific property projects, but there weren't clearly identified properties right at this stage of the budget process. So we're leaving it open and giving you a little more freedom for next year, unless Jamie has anything she wants to jump in on right now. Okay, so then for Fund 709, this is your main operating budget. So again, you have tax capture based on assessor's office estimates. And then we have some miscellaneous revenues for your application fees, and there could be revenue if any properties are sold during the year. We have some matching revenues and expenses for current Eagle grants. These are just the ones we know about right now. If any new ones are awarded to the board in 2022 during the acceptance process for those, that's when the budget will be amended to reflect them. So we don't have anything anticipated included in there right now. For your personnel expenses, we've got 60% of the redevelopment coordinator, 20% of me, and 20% of the executive assistant who work for this board. And we have budgeted outside contractual services to cover our technical consultant and legal expenses that arise during the year. There is another budget similar to the EDC budget of 30,000 in advertising to support RFQs for land development or other advertising needs. We are setting aside 40,000 to cover environmental assessments, either for projects that the board is leading or working with smaller developers on, to make sure that funds for assessment are not a barrier to project continuation. We also have 50,000 set aside for due care obligations for any BRA controlled properties. And then we have 108,000 and some change set aside for infrastructure for larger expenses that are needed during the year. Again, anything in that budget will be, it will fall under your purchasing policy. So if it's 50,000 or more, we'd come to the board for approval. If it's less, Jamie will still give you a heads up that it's happening. And then we do have some due care and maintenance costs budgeted for properties that have been kind of ongoing projects for this board: the Panelite performance paper, 433 Ampersea, and Davis Creek properties. So just tried to lay out what we expect for you to run into over the next year. Are there any questions about this? Okay.
Thank you, Marcy, and thank you, Jamie. Any director's comments or questions here? Okay, thank you guys, really appreciate it. So at this time, we'd like to entertain a motion to, sorry about that. Adopt the fiscal year budgets for 2022 for Fund 709, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and Fund 243, Local Brownfield Revolving Fund. Looking for a motion there.
Director Escamilla, so moved.
Support by Novotny.
And moved and supported. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Bear,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Escamilla,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Gula,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
Perfect, the motion passes. On to old business. Do we have any old business?
No old business at this time.
Okay, on to communications and announcements. Any communications or announcements from staff or board members?
I do. This is Fritz, Director Brown. So tonight, many of you know that we have the Haymarket Plaza. We're making an announcement of we're actually doing a ribbon cutting, and then we're going to make a couple of announcements. And so I wanted to personally invite everybody on this board to come on down and get you a wine and a taco, or a beer and a taco, whatever you want, or water and a taco.
Thank you, Fritz. Looking forward to that. Any staff updates?
Yes, so on your agenda, it listed budget report. There's no budget report for this month, but I'll be sure to send something out for a quarterly update ahead of October meeting and provide a full overview at that time. The other item that staff's going to be working on over the next month is organizing a fall retreat for the EDC and BRA board. And this time around, we'd like to extend an invitation for our cannabis committee members to join us as well. And we brought this to the executive committee to brainstorm a little bit. We received some input from the committee that we're recommending and hoping to hold something in early November. So I'll send out a poll or something to get folks availability for that date and try to get a hold on the calendar. And what we'd like to do is hold a portion of the retreat in person and sort of follow that by a tour of new projects. in downtown, and then probably some related to the cannabis industry as well. I know we've had a lot of offers from the folks in the industry for this board to do a tour. And so we're going to talk about and put together a tour schedule for you all to see a lot of the new buildings that the BRA has been a part of in supporting, especially some of those downtown that are opening right now. So if you have any other ideas or thoughts for that agenda, items that you'd like to see covered, feel free to reach out to staff, drop us a note. We're going to, like I said, start planning that over the next month.
Thank you, Jamie. I think that will be pretty instrumental for a lot of our board members. Any further staff updates? Or are we good there? Good. On to citizen comments. Any citizen comments at this time?
There are no citizen comments at this time.
Okay. Any director's comments at this time?
Can I ask a clarifying question from what Attorney Robinson was saying earlier with Jamari's vote? Did we reach the 2/3 with people abstaining?
I think we had 9 votes, correct?
I can pull those numbers up. We had 10 board members present and 8 voted yes and 2 abstentions.
Okay, I thought we had 3 abstentions. That's why, that was my question. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we were in compliance. Thank you.
It's close, I know.
Okay, there's no further director's comments. We are adjourned. Thank you everyone for being here. We will see you next month.
Thank you.
Good meeting.